It's also a not a cash app, another way of doing it. They'll announce it. But so far, we have Sister Phile here in the house. We have Brother Gabe. We got Brother Umar Johnson sitting over here. We have Dr. Kakai, who does acupuncture, and he was taught by Brother Mutulu. So when we were in Washington, Brother Mutulu did all in, voice real strong, and being that he can't call in tonight, we're going to play for you what he said and show you his continued commitment, to not only all of us, but to the brother that was left behind. So I'm pulling up Brother Kakai right now, and he can explain to you. He'll be back later in the program.
On the move. On the move. I can't hear y'all. On the move. On the move. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. On the move. Holler this thing out, because they can't hear. All right, we're going to do it one more time, because this is how I talk, okay, because it's about revolution. On the move. You know what I mean? So, again, down last week to the benefit that we had in Washington, D.C. For Mutulu, so I knew I had to come up. And then he told me my brother Umar was going to be up there. I said, oh, we don't have anybody going up here today, for sure. So this is a wonderful, wonderful program. My name is Dr. Patterson, and as you stated, I'm a student of Dr. Shakur. We have reinstated BANA, the Black Acupuncture Advisory Association of North America. The day that Pam came down, I just left Dr. Shakur. I've been out here since December. He got out of jail December 16th. I got there on the 18th, and we began. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm an herbalist. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I'm a massage girl. I'm a whole bunch of stuff, that we, of course, have to have in order to heal our community. So myself and another brother, Dr. Tatsuo Harano, are part of Dr. Mutulu's treatment team. So we got out there on the 18th and we began to do treatments on him, put his diet together, a whole nutritional program that we put together for him. He came home in a wheelchair. We had him on a cane. 2 days before I left the first time, he was walking, trying to jog. I said, boy, if you don't sit your butt down, So now he's coming out of the hospital. He had to go back in. I just left there on the 14th when you guys came down on the 15th. I'll be going back in the next couple of days. But he went back into the hospital because he had some leakage out of his bones, some calcium leakage, out of his bones. So they took him back in, and, I spoke with him yesterday, and sounds better. And hopefully he'll be out in the next day or 2 or 3. So again, prayers, always prayers. We pray every morning at 9 a.m. We've been doing that for years for Dr. Shakur. So the prayers don't need to stop. They still need to go on. We ain't out of the woods yet. We got a lot of work. 7 years of dealing with cancer, and was in his demise twice, and they brought him back. Y'all with me? Okay? So that's who he is. That's what the struggle is. That's what revolution is. That's what the spirit of our ancestors is engulfed inside of that man. It ain't his time, so that's why he's still here. We continue to work on him with a proper vegan diet. I'm rumbling with him about the bean pies, though. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm rumbling with him about the bean pies and them ginger beers. Them damn ginger beers. Okay, rumbling with him. But he can have anything he wants after 37 years locked up in jail. This particular piece that you're about to see, he presented at the benefit, and it was also my birthday party, and he presented at the benefit. Again, he's in the hospital. That's the only reason why we couldn't get him to speak live today. I just spoke with him yesterday. He's not in any shape to be able to do this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Today, we're over here, the African Holistic Health Association, the ADS Collective, which you'll see in Dope is Death, which is the official training arm for BANA, the Black Acupuncture Advisory Association. These are 2 of my students. Caitlin's one of the acupuncturists that I train. We have collective members in D.C., Atlanta. We're developing our program here in Philly with Sister Pam. So this is what Mutulu's talking about, the continuation of that movement, the continuation of that work. Mutulu Shakur.
I want to announce this is not the Mama Pam program. This is Nation Time Judicial Research Program and Brother Bigga Dre. And I'm just a fill-in. And so you want to go up.
Her way to jump.
You know, nothing. This takes too much. It's turned all the way up. Oh no, you're not muted on here. Hello, brothers and sisters. Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm your comrade, Mutulu Shakur. I've become hungry. They not even over there no more? It seems like your phone has gone dead.
We're not. Just keep on talking, Mutulu.
I hear you, Bilal.
Everybody's muted, so we're listening to you. Our phones are not dead. We're muted. So please keep on talking. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Sister Cleo Silver, how you doing?
They're
working it out.
So, you know,
watch out. You're doing fine, comrade. It's wonderful to see you.
We used to, Dr. You being with a dance troupe that need them bio dance troupe. So they bad. So we got another warrior sister now who been in the trenches for a long time. A whole lot of us been in these trenches, so we rising up. Sister Lucy Murphy, revolutionary songstress and a person in her own right who has signed her way to justice forums and liberation circles around the city and around the country. Sister Lucy, bring your sisters up. We look forward. Sister Lucy Murphy.
No, we're going to cause feedback. All right. We're going to sing from here. I'm here with my leader, Eric Sheptop, the homeless advocate. Sydney Alexander. No, we're gonna send.
We're gonna bring speakers on until they get right.
You know I'm gonna make it.
Oh,
Because he's putting all this work into it. Plus all the now.
I can hear you now, King.
Go ahead, Doc. I'm with you.
Everybody good?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yes, we are, love.
Better now we can hear you.
Well, we got a happy birthday to brother Dr. Kokai Patterson. And I would be disrespectful if I didn't come out here and celebrate my little brother's birthday. Once he became my little brother, and he didn't pass that 71, now he my big brother. I want to say he works hard. He's a hard working 71. He been out here working 3 or 4 jobs, trying to see if I'm gonna make it or not. He know I'm gonna make it because he's putting all this work into it, plus all the work that he's got to do in D.C. and South Carolina and all over. I honor him because he was there in the beginning. He has pure, unadulterated love for our people. And like I always say, love is a doing thing. It's something you do. You can't just keep saying, I love you, and slow down the train. You gotta say, I love you, and this is what it looks like. We got many brothers that he has used his birthday to honor. Brother Jamil Alameen is a very interesting prisoner of war of our struggle. I dare say he kicked it all off. From the woods of Mississippi, the ghettos in New York, to the structure of Atlanta, Brother Jamil Alameen was out here. We need to get to studying how the law against free speech was orchestrated against the brother. They created a law for him called free speech law. He couldn't go places and speak because they alleged that he started riots and a whole lot of other things. When he would get off a bus and go into a community to see what the community's needs was, the police authorities would say he violated the Wrap Brown law. The Wrap Brown law. One of the first times a law named after a freedom fighter was used to curtail that freedom fighter's freedom to speak. And people would say, well, what you gonna do, Rap? What you gonna do, Rap? And he just looked at him. He said, come on to the rally, you'll see. And we all younger than him was going to go to that rally and see him kick it off. When he got up on the stage and it was his chance to speak, he took his lighter or a match and stuck it up in the air and lit it. He didn't say a word. He just flashed that light. Boy, did we go crazy. We went crazy. He outsmarted him. It showed and it demonstrated a lot of ingenuity. It demonstrated how we know and love our people. It demonstrated how we will not be curtailed for fighting for our freedom. That's in the late 60s. All the Black Power rallies and all of that we were doing to try to bring attention to our oppression. And Rap would take his match and light it. And that whole community would just go, wow. I'm proud to say I was down there. In many spots, we were motivated by that great brother. He has so many historic stories that we must put into context now. We honor him, we honor his family, we honor his religion. And he's looking for some support. But what I'm telling you is what I told him. He's not only a freedom fighter, he's a political prisoner, captured time after time and put in these dismal crypts. And he's still pushing. And he's not a prisoner of war because I think we got the best army in the world. No. He's a prisoner of war because his action fell within the confines of what we call, or what they call, just war. He never violated human rights. There were many times that he could have violated the oath of war. But no, he stuck to the ground rules. He never shot nobody while they was in handcuffs. He always tried to plead for us to act dignified. He's a bad brother. And when not in combat, he began to fight in a civilian way, free people, protect the people. So I like Jay-Z. I like Noah. I like J-Rue. There's a lot of beautiful brothers. I like Zayed, Malik, who are beautiful storytellers about struggle. But how can I like them and not respect the king of that? Brad Brown is our freedom fighter because he lived by universal law. And we owe it to him to expose the many atrocities committed against him and to use international law to bring attention to that brother and see about getting him to come home. I know you people love him. I know you love the rap. So, in honor of our struggle, we honor Winnie Mandela. We honor the Truth and Reconciliation Commission carried out in Zimbabwe and South Africa. We owe that kind of recognition to this brother. The people are holding their hands up high. We feel victorious. So let's get busy. The work don't stop. Don't take no easy victories. They'll walk right over you. This has been a long struggle, scattered with so many beautiful brothers and sisters. I honor all of y'all and thank you for the work you put in for my freedom. I say to you all, happy birthday to Brother Kakai. Aim high and go all out. Let's free our freedom fighters. Assalamu alaikum. Mumia. Thank you for letting me talk.
I thank you, Doc, and we love you. You know that. And we want to make sure that everybody understands what was just heard. You know, we just put the call out for everybody to continue to work, Doc, and we're going to continue to that in your behalf. And I personally want to thank you for everything that you've done in our community and leading the way for us to do the work that we're doing. I say to you, free the land. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's give Doc a hand.
Mics and holler. Go ahead, unmute your mics and holler for the brother. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I say.
Hello. I know Dequi, I shouldn't be up here. I'm gonna put somebody else up here. You know, she don't know the order of the program. You know, that's the problem. You know, but anyway, you know, we're gonna bring up Sister Renee. She's a Panther, and she's gonna do a poem that she did especially for Dr. Mutulu. And let me tell you, Brother Basiymah is in the back. This is to all the speakers up here. Except the panel a little bit late. I want to let people know, Brother Sekou Odinga's in the house. Sister Barbara he's in the house. Sister Dequi, I'm talking about panel people. Brother Umar's here. Brother Kakai's gonna come back up a little bit later. We're changing the order of things because that's just the way it is. But again, it's gonna be good. So I'm gonna bring Sister Renee up, and brother who idea for this program, Brother Razakhan, is sitting over here from Nation Time. He's gonna come up just before the panel comes. So to keep things going, Sister Renee, she's a badass poet. Revolutionary book. You tell me who you are. 3 minutes.
Now, you know I'm Regina. I ain't Renee. I am Regina. How y'all doing? Okay. Let me try to do this. I learned something listening to Brother Mutulu. Back in the 60s, I had a great big poster of A$AP Brown, and he's lighting the match. But it says, "Burn, baby, burn." I didn't know he didn't say that. We all thought that he said that, okay? And that was just so appropriate. Oh, God. Our freedom fighters are so important. And we can't let them languish in jail. If you're not a part of the Jericho movement, please join. Truly. We have to take care of our heroes. These are our heroes. They did whatever they did for us as a people. So Sister Pam asked me to write a poem for Mutulu, and I did, and I'm going to give it to you now. But I always like, in the African tradition, to allow the audience to also join in when I say certain words. So when I say Mutulu, I want y'all to say it too. We can Mutulu, Mutulu, Mutulu. So throughout this poem, I'm going to say his name, and every time you hear his name, say it back to me. Say it back so he can hear it. All right. This is called To Mutulu Shakur. That's right. Marble black, his teeth an African gap, his hair a hay of thick black straws, a Rasta man is Mutulu's mane. His fame stroking black people's addictive pain, denying the needle, the pill, the powder, denying heroin stick pricks all over South Bronx, New York, flurries of black and brown nodding necks. Mutulu lifted addicts beyond white America, tapping energy centers, roots, body touch. He made addicts remember who issued dope needles and dope. He walked with his heart, understanding black users' gaping pain to hide the shame of being roped hog-tied in American capture. American capture, shackled, shuffled, stacked, fed like dogs, bought and sold, branded hot iron, branded sizzling on the smoke, branded in America, enslaved in America, raped in America, roasted in America, strung up in America, Jim Crowed in America, shot down in America, towns black burned down in America, black families lynched in America. Oh, beautiful for white men's skies. America, capitalism's cradle. America, the milk of hedonism. America, a hegemon of hell. America, a hatred of the dark. America, seasoned and cooked the red, black, and brown. Seasoned and cooked to bend, soften, or die. Mutulu, Mutulu, Mutulu saw these things, scraping his people, bleeding his people, killing his people. He swallowed these things and froze like a revolutionary lover. eyeing a system ripe with lascivious lepers, concentrated capitalists, worldwide warmongers, thieves, sourcing pharmaceuticals, stealing slave labor, staging worldwide wars. Mutulu, Mutulu, Mutulu. Wars, worldwide wars. Korea, he saw these things. Vietnam, he saw these things. Congo, global killing, lascivious lepers, global killers. Chief devils, like Elijah Muhammad said, devils revel in bloodlust. Mutulu, Mutulu, he cloaked himself in ancestral courage, welcomed, walked, and shook hands with nerve. Becoming a shaman, living to erase black death, he transformed a warrior to earth, with Shay on his shoulder, Shaka Zulu on his right, in a time tailgating the music of Malcolm. Gotta turn these pages over. In a time of the Revolutionary Action Movement, in a time Republic of New Africa, in a time Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, in a time Black Liberation Army, in a time of not smiling when nothing was funny, in a time when Ogun blew his unmistakable horn, Mutulu, Mutulu role modeled the tongue of Tupac, opening his arms to Afeni Shakur, tearing away American soloism. Around his waist, his belt, a sash of African groupthink. Mutulu, Mutulu, Mutulu. On this day and at this time, we love lingering, honoring, breathing in your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here I go again. Yes, it's me. The next speaker will be Sister Basiymah Muhammad from the UNIA. And following her will be Sister Phile, and then Brother Bigga. And right after Brother Bigga will be Brother Umar. So Sister Basiymah from the UNIA. Give it up.
Power to the people! Power to the people! Well, I haven't always been in UNIA. I started my struggle out in the street, and I give thanks to my mother, Sarah Alice Kit Barnes, who put me in the street to make sure the brothers was okay, to watch the police cars, to make sure the badge numbers was taken, and any injustice was done in the community. The women got together, and they did some things in our community. So I'm honored to be my mother's 12th child. And my journey has always been about the work and the injustice that was going on in our community. I ran into some great people, Republic of New Africa. And when I say I ran into them, I literally ran into them. And they embraced me, free the land, by any means necessary. And they embraced me. I'd like to give high salutes to our brother Herman Ferguson. Herman Ferguson, I don't see Brother Zayed here at this time, but Herman Ferguson had charged me and Brother Zayed, working along with Malcolm X grassroots, working along with Malcolm X Commemoration Committee. He charged us to take that run with him. And man, let me tell you one thing, I thought I was in shape. I felt shame. I felt shame. When Herman got finished us, my clothes was like this. And Mama Atiola husband, God bless his soul, Baba Comey said, sister, lay down and take a piece of ginger. That's how much Brother Herman loved the work for the political prisoners. And they guided us and put us back on the right path. And in that journey of meeting him and Mama Lua Ferguson's and high salutes to Baba Obadeli, at that level and at that time in my life, they introduced me to UNIA. Mama Ferguson said that no house should not have a flag in there during the month of August, at least. All houses should have red, black, and green flags. Marcus Garvey honored African people worldwide. So I wanted to see what Marcus Garvey was doing at that time. And so I then went on also and joined in with the UNIA. Slowly, Spirit was moving me to a whole nother level, and I give thanks. I am the highest ranking 4th Assistant President General in the world of UNIA. I have served 14 years to our community, nationally and internationally, doing the work to rejuvenate black people and bring us back up and uplift ourselves. So I just want to give high honors to those in struggle. I cannot say anything else without giving my big brother a high salute. Razakhan Shaheed is my big brother. When he first came home, he was Basiymah's brother. Nobody knew his name. Everybody knew that he was Basiymah's brother. What you say, brother? He was like, my name is Razakhan. I'm not just her brother. So from then on, he introduced himself to the community as Brother Razakhan. Is that my 3 minutes, brother? I knew that you would be real precise on my time. So can you just give me a second? Can you turn it down for a second?
I sat on the throne drinking nectar with
that second?
I got hot.
All right. So, and I thought before you do that you would give us like a notice that was coming up. I thought I was in my 2 minutes. That's why I asked you, can you turn it down? Because before you let me off the stage, I need to know where I'm at. So I'm back on real quick and I'm ready to get off. So what I'm saying is this. Yeah, just give me, I knew he was going to get me anyway. But I'm saying this, is that in this struggle, we have to make sure that we're educating our youth. And this is what we are about, educating the youth. I see a lot of brothers in here, a lot of sisters that come through here that I have been working with throughout the years. So I just say, like, power to the people, as I said early on. I'd like to give high salutes again to the stick-up man over there, Brother Kokaya. So with that being said, I'm going to come on off this mic. And sounds like the house is getting ready to have a nice time. I'm going to grab their phones. Sister Pam, Brother Razakhan, thank you, everybody.
From my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world.
Hello. It's a strict 3 minutes. Right. Everybody got a certain amount of time. And because we're late, everybody got to stick to their timing. So, Brother Basiymah, we'll cut you off with the music. Don't nobody come looking at Pam. Pam, I set the rule, but he's going to follow it. And, Brother Basiymah, what Sister Basiymah said, give them a minute notice. And let them know so they can wind down. Okay. So the next speaker coming up is Sister Phile. She so. And who brought us the Million Woman March and many other things. Sister Phile. 3 minutes. All right. Dr. Phile, she so.
All right.
Okay.
All right. No justice. No justice. No justice. And with that said, of course, we remember our brother, the warrior attorney, Alton Maddox, who always opened up and ended with that phrase. He and others inspired us to do the work that we're now doing. Of course, with the Million Woman March, the largest gathering in the world of any women anywhere ever, you would have thought that would have made the history books. You would have thought that black women would have continued to do the work that we started in 97. In the spirit of our ancestors, which is how it was given, and that meant self-determination. Oh, that's a cuss word now. I only hear it at Kwanzaa time. Kuchishangalia, everybody. But we was taught self-determination every single day. And the Million Woman March is the only gathering over 1 million people that never had corporate sponsoring, government sponsoring, no major benefactor, no head figure from a national or international group organization, none of that. But yet, people did not see or realize the power and the magnificence of it. And as a result, in Philadelphia, we became persona non grata. Y'all know what that means? That means if you don't kiss Negroes behinds, they're going to hate on you. That's what that means. Now, Philadelphia, for those who do not know, of course, is the home of Mumia Abu-Jamal, our native son, but also it's the home of the Boule. And I would be remiss if I did not say that there's a reason why there's not more black folks in here tonight. Yes, I said it. Most won't. They don't dare. But in the spirit of Dr. Mutulu, who encouraged me and others in the work for black liberation, this is why our sister Assata Shakur's message was read at the Million Woman March. This is why Sister Pam Africa, Sister Ramona Africa spoke at the Million Woman March. Where else did you see that at? So obviously the message was about what? Justice and liberation. And so now, after 2.5 decades of learning the hard way about some truths about some things, we now come forward with the first global movement for women and girls of African descent worldwide. We've been organizing now, not just in Philly, but in Benin, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, and come September, you will see some of that when we host the Million Woman World March.
1 minute.
Why? Because we know that COINTELPRO is still alive today. Different name, different people, but some of it is the system of white supremacy, COINTELPRO. Some of it is Negropean COINTELPRO. And some of it is spiritual COINTELPRO. So when you ask who supports self-determination, that's your litmus scale right there. Because if somebody is not doing that, no matter what else they're doing, better check it out. Lastly, here in Philadelphia, July 27th through the 30th is Queen Mother Moore weekend. Oh, y'all remember her? Okay, well, let's see. Because we're going to install her as one of our sister saints. We're about doing things that have not been done before. And so here in Philadelphia, July 27th through the 30th, Queen Mother Moore Weekend and our National Black Political and Social Justice Forum. If you want more information, come over to the table. You can also get information about other events and activities that we have coming up. I want to thank all of you, definitely Dr. Mutulu Shakur.
I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my
And we're out.
My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birthday
Who's up next?
flooded the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert.
Oh, one thing. New day, resurrection and liberation. Every Saturday night, 10:30 p.m.
So swift, you can't catch me.
All right. I'm beginning to know. You hear it cutting down. So the next person we're going to bring up is Brother Bigga Dre. Brother Bigga Dre has been involved in putting this program together with Brother Razakhan, as well as Sister Phile. She did a hell of a lot of background work. But Bigga, are you ready? And I want to let you know, are you tuned up for everything? Okay. It's the power hour. You got 7 minutes, you say?
I got 7 minutes, so I'm going to do something, to engage with my people, and we're going to show the PSA to bring awareness to human trafficking as it relates to black women in our community. So I'm just going to set the tone for it, and we'll go right into the visual. Come on, 'cause it's all about Mutulu Shakur, all right?
Right.
So peace, family. How y'all feeling? All right, so my name is Bigga Dre, also known as Amunson Hotep Ray. I'm a youth mentor, community organizer, and instructional support specialist. Shout out to Dr. Umar. And I'm a black activist, and I'm here to support this fundraiser for Mutulu Shakur. I want to do this piece for you. It's a timeless piece, and it's called Evolve or Perish. And it's talking about the day and time that we're in. And after I do this piece, we're going to go straight into the PSA, eschatology, bring our girls back. I want y'all to listen real close, because this is a message for our community. Ain't no games when the world goes up in flames. I be picking at my brain, trying to maintain the pain. And it seems my destiny's controlled by dreams. I see visions of light through clouds of smoke screens. By all means, I'm on a quest. Nevertheless, gotta reach the holy lands of Kadesh without stress. But life's a test. That's why we here on this planet. The dumb, weak, and feeble minds, they can't overstand it. I'm second-handed. The rebirth of my dad, I bring the good out and bad, and the times is real sad. Condemned blocks, cops running in spots with the Luger, sharpshooter, marksman, call him intruder, pursuiter. Your computer get tapped for the code, explode, cause life in the game select mode. You wanna be a man, check the plan. Let me see you withstand the hands of Uncle Sam. As the time pass, the currency won't last. Small cards and e-cash be controlling the mass population. They want Sabian evacuation, but right education, it gives me right evaluation. In the age of information, we fulfilling revelation. It's a documentation. You can read it in your scripture. Biblical, individual. You get the picture? I hit you up in these years to come. We the people of the sun, the original one. I see visions sometimes in the times we living in. Young minds corrupted with sin from within. The jinn, shaitan, new Babylon. Never dwell upon the dawn, remain calm. Word to mom, king of Salam, Malachi, Anu, creator of the heavens and the sky. It all seems fly when you hear it at first. I make these words collaborate when I'm kicking the verse. It gets worse when you see your friends lay in a hearse. Derelicts roam the streets and be dying of thirst. And it hurts because we all living in poverty. It's like a plague, because what affects you affects me. In my family tree, I got apple, peaches, and pears. Visions of me peaking careers, holding my tears. Staring in the eyes of my peers, I see fears. If they could only see with they 3RDEYE, then maybe we could bring you to tea. But it's soon to be foul. Not like it is now, but iller. If they cut the currency, tell me, what is a drug dealer? Just like the average cat without a stack, the Illuminati about to attack. Now picture that. They all in the government black. They got a plan, a plot to make the currency stop and drop. The social classes, no more cashes and masses. They're going to bag this. Had a ghetto on lock. No more selling rock at the coke spot. Watching shorty standing at the bus stop. Because there won't be no transportation. They're cutting all the racing. So tell me what you facing. Incarceration. Because the crime inflates. We all make mistakes, but watch the ones you make. For heaven's sakes, urgency. We in a state of emergency with brothers wilding, violence, committing burglary. You never heard of me? Hey, yo, it's Bigga Dre, y'all. Much love. I appreciate y'all. Let's support Baba Mutulu Shakur. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. Free Dr. Malachi York. Shout out to Nation Time Judicial Research. We appreciate y'all. Let's get into it, y'all. Next up, I want y'all to really pay attention to this visual. Human trafficking is real serious in our community. It's a disproportionate number as it relates to black women. So I created this content, and I need y'all to support me as an artist to get this message out.
talk about this is human trafficking. I mean, people have to understand, as a part of this game, literally, you have 12, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls who are being used.
Absolutely, and the predators are being so sophisticated nowadays. They're utilizing social media to recruit these youth. And, you know, we as parents need to monitor what our children are doing.
They polluting our water, chips in our sons and our daughters. Depot, ricochet shots that echo through the block, the menstrual cycle. Woven sheep's clothing is trifle, camouflage, demagogues. Walk the streets at night, yo, I'm applaud. They got us walking around here lunching with credit cards. They monitor our first injunction. Yeah, if you don't see the plan, the system is a scam. Tell me why they call the ones who oppress us the fucking man. Damn, reversing our roles. I guess you call a man a woman. The woman is who nurses our soul, use her body and whole. She gave birth to the globe, even birth to my son, who I'm thankful I know. Without you, my completion secretion is an investment. Protect the black woman's womb. She is the best kept. Better respect that, never neglect that. From mountain skies, highs to low, I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountain skies, highs to low, I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountain skies, highs to low, I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountain skies, highs to low, screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. It's been established, written on tablets. Without them, without him, eagle to phoenix, skull, skeleton, bone, bulimic, behemoth grove. Hell kitchen, lit the stove, torch, fill a force. In the course, my memoirs, journal, eternal life. Paradox eclipse, reciprocate while I'm 9 to B6. Here is wisdom, cash is the cashless monetary system. Prism default, ritual is a cult. The 5-pointed star, all-seeing psychology, pineal cyst. Politics, philosophy of polytheists. Expose a secret replacing Jacob's a plan a nation. I know the blasphemy who stole a birthright. Y'all know who cursed right.
Come and join me at the back. I can tell you a little more about the campaign. I appreciate y'all.
Come and join him outside, and he can tell you a little more about the campaign. Too much talking going on in here from the food section. And also, there is a section outside here on the side where people can have conversations. That light is bright. But I'm getting ready to bring on Brother Umar Johnson. On a quick notice, that's when the panel come on. And we're going to do Dope is Deaf right after that, after we get the panel, do the panel. Brother Umar Johnson.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters. It's an honor to be here, back home, Philadelphia. Had to come when Baba Razakhan sent me the flyer, fundraiser for brother Mutulu Shakur. You know, as someone who was probably born towards the end of the decline of the Black Liberation Army, the Black Panther Party, I've always been a big fan of their work. And I contrast their deeds with the deeds of the current Black consciousness community. And I see some very clear differences between the Mutulus and the Kwame Ture Stokely Carmichaels and the H. Rap Browns. And one of the biggest differences I see between the work of the 60s and the 70s and the work that we're putting in now in the 21st century, the biggest difference is a difference of work. It's a difference of contribution. It's a difference of measurable progress. Today we have all the information. We have all the facts, all the data, all the statistics, all the theories, but we produce almost nothing. When you look at what they did back then, babies, many of them, in their 20s, mid-20s, early 30s, after-school programs, health programs, institutions, and most of all, defending the community. New York, Monday, I was at Attorney Automatix's homegoing ceremony. Sister Pam was there, Baba Razakhan was there, but little did we know that while we were celebrating the life of Attorney Maddox, we had a young 30-year-old brother getting his life snuffed out on a New York City subway by a white veteran Marine who killed that brother, choked him out to death. And the black mayor, Eric Adams, wouldn't even lock the man up, wouldn't even charge him, wouldn't even indict him with anything. He says they have to do an investigation. What do you need to investigate? We all saw what happened. They're trying to find a loophole to exercise white privilege. They don't want to lock the man up. His life is worth more than that black boy's whose life that he take. So you're looking at a mix of what happened to George Floyd and what happened to Trayvon Martin all over again. Every time we see an act of police brutality, I got to remember Mutulu Shakur. I got to remember Afeni. I got to remember this brother right here, H. Rap Brown, whose intellectual prowess for me was on the same level as an El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X. You know, H. Rap was a bad man, a very bad man. I hope one day I get to meet him before he joins the ancestors or before I join the ancestors. But brothers and sisters, the times is getting tough for us right now. The American dollar is losing its power. BRICS is coming up. And you know, when the white man catches the cold, black America catches the flu. Our weakness is the same it is now as it was 50 years ago. Our weakness is the same as it was then now, and that is a weakness of disorganization and the failure to collaborate. We don't have the luxury of fighting over ideology. We don't have the luxury of clashing over religion. We don't have the luxury of being divided by class or by case. The white man doesn't divide us into groups, neither does God. So why do we do it? We have to get together, and we have to get together now. Words are important, but they are never as effective as works. It is the works that determine whether one is a revolutionary. It is the works that dictate whether or not you are a Pan-Africanist. My contribution to this work is in the field of education and mental health. Many of you know several years ago we started building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy in Wilmington, Delaware, and we're just about 2 steps from being completely done. We just got to keep working this thing out on the HVAC system. But I'm looking at having a grand opening for the entire black community during Kwanzaa week. I think we're going to do 7 days of Kwanzaa in Wilmington, Delaware, inside of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. And then we want to take them all over the world. I was just invited by the government of Ethiopia to keynote their African Liberation Day celebration on Thursday, May the 25th. And when I go to Addis Ababa and speak with those brothers and sisters who are the legislators there in the homeland of the birth of mankind, I'm going to talk to them about what that brother spoke about earlier. And that is stop letting these Europeans come to Ethiopia and adopt our children. I don't know if y'all know this, but Ethiopia and Haiti are 2 of the largest international adoption countries in the world for Europeans. And the reason they take our babies from Ethiopia and Haiti is because the infrastructure of those 2 countries is so underdeveloped that it's almost impossible for them to trace those children and make sure they're not being sexually enslaved or domestically exploited. So that's one of the messages I want to take to Ethiopia. And the other message I want to take to Ethiopia is you got to give us land. Africans from the diaspora have to have a place to come back home. We know Ghana has given us dual citizenship. We know that His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I has given us the land of Shashamani. But many of the countries in Africa are afraid to open up to dual citizenship to the American African. And so when I go to Ethiopia, I have to tell them that you have to give us land so we can build a community back home. It's not about running away from America, nor does everyone need to go back home to Africa, but it's about having options. We got to have options as a people because things are going to get a whole lot worse before they get better for us. Also, suicide. Not only child sex trafficking, but black girls are the fastest growing suicide population in the United States. 14 to 17-year-old girls in particular. It grew out of the COVID quarantine situation where so many of our daughters were not allowed to get a break from emotionally traumatizing and psychologically terroristic home life. Although public school is a disaster, it was the only time that many black children got a break from domestic violence and sexual abuse. And as a result of that COVID quarantine, many of our daughters are still dealing with the collateral damage of COVID, and they're taking their own lives. I just read a report that the U.S. Surgeon General listed loneliness as one of the most pervasive psychological conditions in America right now. Loneliness, not having support, loneliness, not having love, loneliness, being in the world by yourself, Brothers and sisters, how can an African be lonely when the foundation of our culture is collectivism? How is it we got elders who are lonely, mothers who are lonely, fathers who are lonely, youth who are lonely? Our solution is real simple, and we have to get back to the village. Everything we need is in the village. Every solution is in the village. We don't have to create nothing new. Go back to what works, Sankofa. The village is the solution. All these boys killing themselves on the street because black men are not taking them under. The village is the solution. All these homeless black people. We have the highest homelessness rate since 1960. Why? Because of gentrification. And what city leads America in gentrification? Philadelphia is #1. It has overtaken San Francisco as the most gentrified city in America. Why do you see so many homeless black people? Because we are not financially organizing ourselves to take care of the village. As I close, brothers and sisters, we got to make sure we teach our children about the legacy and the works of people like Mutulu Shakur, our good brother Dr. Kokai, Sister Pam, Sister Basiymah, everybody who's here. We got to teach them about our good brother H. Rap Brown. We have to make sure they understand that there is a revolutionary heritage that is not much older than them. Too often we skip over the 60s and we skip over the freedom fighters of the 70s and we go back to Reconstruction. We go back to abolition. That's important, but don't ignore the elders who are still living and breathing the life right here and right now. We need the ancestors and the elders. What good is having the ancestors if you're not going to respect the elders? And what good is holding on to the elders if we're not going to lift up the ancestors? Today, we had a penumbral lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. I'm a Leo, but Scorpio is my rising sign. Scorpio is a sign of destroy and rebuild. Get rid of all that never worked and create what we need now. The ancestors, the Most High, the Orisha, the Loas, the Abusums, they are talking to us. Get rid of that which no longer serves us and build anew what we need to make it into the future. The most honorable Marcus Garvey said, no one can destroy the black man, but the black man himself. Garvey said the greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. Malcolm said white man is not more important than us. He's not more intelligent than us. He's more organized than us. Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture said, if you organize a little, you get a little done. If you organize some, you get some done. But if you don't organize at all, you don't get nothing done. Black power.
Yeah. It's vegan. It's good. And you would think that you're eating that other stuff because it tastes so good. But no, this is 100% vegan. And it's the daughter of Russell Maroon Schultz, Sharon Schultz, who's known for vegan cupcakes, donuts, and these little good sweet things. I want to also remind y'all, we're going to get ready to see Dope is Death because there's enough people here. But Dr. Kakai, who performed acupuncture on me, and he did a damn good job. Sister.
Yeah, when we were at someplace recently. Oh, we was in Washington, D.C. I had it sitting right next to you. I had an acupuncture treatment, and I walked in with a cane, and I left there without the cane.
Excuse me? Are we bringing you something good, something important? We ain't like those doctors to say the blind man come in and you give him some juju juice and then he said, oh, I can see. No, I was sick. And he gonna work on me with his voice again. But anyway, he's going to do acupuncture for a donation. He came all the way in from Washington and he got enough for 20 people to get an acupuncture treatment for a donation. We have other vendors in here, You know, of course, everybody's at Mama Achiola table. You know, I ain't got to announce that, you know. And sister here, Regina, she had books. And brother, our Muslim brother over here, Michael Muhammad, he got pictures and paintings. We got all these different vendors with different things. I can't see, the light is blinding me. But are we ready for Dope is Death? And right after that, we have a panel. The panel, Brother Sekou Odinga, who walked the streets with, and who have been with Brother Mutulu since he left. I mean, we got people that's in the movement here, and Sister Dequi, and who is the other ones that's on that panel? Can't remember. Shit is coming in here again. CRS. But by the time we get back, I'll have that information. But it'll be a panel that they can tell you about Dr. Mutulu and from their aspect and what's going on with him right now. But right now, we're going to do Dope is Death. And it's going to be moderated by Brother Shomari. He's going to interview them and questions and answers. But right now, Dope is Death.
Breathe in, exhale. Okay, Walter, turn your head that way like you're looking at that hat. Excuse me. See something? I'm gonna adjust this one right here, the lever point. Let me get rid of this. Turn your head that way. There you go, sir. Turn your head the other way. There you go, brother. You good to go, man. Don't try not to tense up when you breathe in. Just try to relax. Breathe in. And exhale. You all right? All right. Turn your head for me. Okay, sir.
I've been doing this for about 7, 8 years now. Maybe more. Maybe I'll skip a couple.
Are you ready?
Because I was doing drugs back then. And it helps me with a lot of things. It calms my breathing. It calms my heart down. It keeps me relaxed. And it just makes me happy. I'm a happy person anyway, and with this, it makes me extra happy. Come on, put the pins in.
Thank you.
This helps me with my anger management.
I've been on diabetes
because
for 10 years or more.
Lily, let me talk. This helped me with my anger management, and I found out through taking anger management courses that it's not anger I feel, it's hurt. So it helps me manage the hurts that I have within and keeps me off of, away from alcohol and illegal, substance abuse.
Right, you don't have to medicate yourself anymore. This is your natural medicine here.
Yes, yes, yes. Come on, hit me up, man. I'm ready
Yes,
for
sir.
another.
Look up a little bit. There you go.
When were you in the military?
Quite a few years, quite a few battles.
I didn't really know the true history behind it, which was that one of the senior counselors, and I was telling them about acupuncture and stuff, and she came and she said, "Do you know how this really started?" And she was like, it was the Black Panthers and the Young Lords. They actually were the first ones to bring acupuncture to the South Bronx.
Growing up in the South Bronx, when the heroin epidemic really hit strong, I got used to seeing the addicts, the men nodding on the corners. And so I grew up with that sense. We just didn't drop out of the sky addicted to heroin. We became addicted to heroin because of the situation and our environment exposed us to heroin. You could buy a bag of heroin for $3. So people got addicted to heroin, and then it just got out of control. At one point, there were 100,000 addicts in New York. So I wanted to do something.
The need to go into the Panther Party came as I watched and observed the interaction of people, the interaction of party, and what the police was doing at the time. Even if the situation required verbal interaction, verbal communication, they rather use the baton and use force. This I seen. I didn't have to read in the evening paper. I seen this. So I offered my skills in the martial arts to the Panther Party, located in the Bronx chapter on Boston Road. In the community, we structured the free lunch program. Also the daycare center.
The name of this revolutionary puppet show is called The Child, the Man, the Revolutionary, the Panther. Oink, 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 oink. Oink, 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 oink. Oink, 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 oink.
To the United States, we came to learn how to misspell our name, to lose the definition of pride, to have misfortune on our side, to live where rats and roaches roam, to be trained to turn on television sets, to dream about jobs you will never get, to fill out welfare applications, to graduate from school without an education, to be drafted, distorted, and destroyed, to work full-time and still be...
After work at Lincoln Hospital, I would sell my newspapers, my Black Panther Party newspapers. I sold the newspapers across the street from the hospital because that's the closest place, and there were lots of people. There was a lot of people walking back and forth. And on the stoop, every day, was this 15-year-old and his buddy, who was about 25 maybe, and they were stomped down heroin addicts. And I kept telling them, you know, you don't want to be addicted to heroin, and let me show you why. Because the system is keeping you, I gave them the whole spiel. System is keeping you down by making sure that you stay addicted and you don't stand up and fight against all the exploitation and horrible conditions that we live in because you're over here nodding out.
You don't want to fight when you're on heroin. You don't want to. You just stay there and nod yourself into oblivion.
Hey now! Hey now! Hey now! Hey now!
During that era, I found out I was very political. I don't know how this happened. Obviously, subconsciously, something was working in me.
Hey now! Dignitary! Hey now! Go 8-chain, where are you?
I was admiring the Panthers. I had already met with Bobby Seale and James Foreman, and I told Bobby Seale I wanted to make a counterpart. I wanted to organize the counterpart to the Black Panthers called the Brown Tigers. He said, son, can I tell you something? We're catching hell being called the Black Panthers. I would suggest that you find another name and work the objective conditions of your country. Try to apply socialism to the objective conditions of your country, and don't try to do what we do. I thought that was a brilliant answer.
Another panelist, Mr. Philippe Luciano, a member of the Young Lords, and I've asked him to speak briefly as to the philosophy of his organization and what he feels its place in the community is. Mr. Luciano.
Well, first of all, the Young Lords are a predominantly Puerto Rican group operating out of East Harlem. Basically, the way we go about mobilizing our people is through serving their needs. That is, if our people need hot water, then we're going to get hot water. If it's shoes on their feet, then we're going to give them shoes, right? And if it's a political campaign that needs to be run, then we're going to run political campaigns. That's basically what the Young Lords are about. In the process of bringing...
I just fell in love with the movement. Once I heard him speak about what we had to do in our community, I wanted to join the movement.
Have you seen the skinny little boy that chases the white ghost at night? Have you seen the little boy? Face puffed up, tracks in his arm, and his mind blown. His mama's somewhere drinking and talking about survival. Pop's in jail or downtown in the Y. The little boy chases white ghosts with his friend, and they get high. And they get high. And they get high. And they get high. Like Cloud 9, where everything is fine.
The fast rise of people's personal economy grew as a result of selling drugs. Qualitatively, that overshadowed living harmoniously amongst each other, which the Panther Party was introducing. So we had to tackle the drugs now.
They are noticed now, just as like. At least we give them a notice. That's why I need the press to be honest.
At first, we went to those who were distributing the drugs and selling drugs. We asked that they stop. They wouldn't. Then we just kindly removed them out the community.
It didn't hit the lower middle class or middle class neighborhoods.
It was clearly in the areas of color. If it isn't large enough to get to the influential community, if it isn't a big media story, if it doesn't affect your kid going to school every day because you're in Forest Hills or you're in Bay Ridge, you're in some middle class neighborhood, it's not a big problem. I was with, as administrative assistant to John Lindsay when he was mayor from 1966 to 1973, and basically my responsibility was the street.
The blue uniforms that run through the streets like stormtroopers, they're out here to protect white law. And they're out to have an armed camp attitude for black communities. As long as that situation is real, we can't have a very good relationship with them. See, another point too, dealing with the pigs and police, the pigs is the one who bring heroin in our community. You see, if it wasn't for the pigs, heroin wouldn't be saturated through the black community. What they do, when the police make a big narcotic raid and he get like a kilo of heroin, he would turn in a pound of it, and then he put the other pound that's left back in the community and let somebody sell it for him. And he's selling the heroin for the police. That's why when we confiscated the heroin last Friday, somebody from the Post and other news media said that we should have took that kilo of heroin and gave it to the police. We would have gave it to the police at 3 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, we would have been back in Harlem. Power to the people, brother. Right on, power.
Self-defense, not because we like violence. No one likes violence, but that you have to like make a differentiation between the open and direct violence that very often is attributed to revolutionaries, and the type of violence that happens every day on a regular basis among poor people, whether it's the violence of having to go all winter in an apartment that has no heat, or whether it's the violence of having to go to a hospital that doesn't give you service and you end up dying anyway. You don't die with a bullet necessarily, but you die in other ways. And that type of violence takes a lot more lives.
Today we don't want to just have a rally here. We're going to go marching to the streets of South Bronx. We're going to tell the people of South Bronx that we're not going anywhere, that we're going to be here until this hospital learns and is put back in the hands of the people. That building was condemned 25 years ago. Condemned because it was unsafe for human habitation. Condemned for rich people and opened up for poor people. That's what always happens.
Young Lords, Black Panthers, workers, and patients who set up a complaint table. So we took complaints to rat bites for babies, lead poisoning, asthma, heroin addiction.
They have those 2,000 complaints that we got from the patient work complaint table in their hands and have done nothing about them.
A group called the Health Revolutionary Unity Movement, some blacks, some Puerto Ricans, some Jewish Americans. We all got together essentially when we decided it's time to do something. And we decided, I know this is going to sound crazy, we decided to take over the hospital. It was an occupation that came straight out of the Normandy invasion. Understand, it's a U-Haul truck driven by a friend of ours. The gate rolls up, and we were sitting with our legs open, and there were people, like a guy would sit between us, and it was like a paratroop assault. I knew that we were ready because I was expecting them to look at me for confirmation. Not one person looked at me. They knew exactly what their roles were. We took the physical plan, it was 11 stories high. We took it in 7.5 minutes. We secured it in 15. That morning, the Puerto Rican flag is flying over Lincoln Hospital. The cops come. They had more cops than I had ever seen in my life. So they send over their best negotiators, a guy named Sid Davidoff and Barry Goddard.
So I get a call one morning that the young lords have taken over the hospital, whatever that means, taking over the hospital. The police are ready to move in. They've got hostages. Can we do something about it? It's one thing to have a demonstration in the street, and you cordon it off, and you have police, and you do what you have to do. This is a hospital where people come who are seriously injured or seriously sick, and it couldn't provide patient care. And that, we had to draw the line there.
Don't let anybody tell you that there was 1 minute of disruption of the delivery of health care at Lincoln Hospital when the young lords took it over. Never. We had our press conference where we said the hospital had been taken over and we were willing to negotiate, but these were the demands. Pretty much those demands were the thousands of complaints that we had received from the patients in the emergency room at our complaint table.
We kept our end of the bargain. We did open a detox center soon thereafter with, as I remember, Puerto Rican administrator, I'm pretty sure.
And that was the beginning of the Lincoln Detox Unit.
We have now started the Lincoln Hospital Drug Detoxification Program. We brought hundreds of drug addicts, heroin addicts, came.
The first day that we opened up the doors, there were 200.
Walter came in off the street.
And I was in nursing school walking up the block with my ex-wife, and I saw this big Puerto Rican flag across the street where the barber was. So when I told him I was in nursing school, he says, "Why don't you volunteer?" In the beginning, I was just like a translator because all the doctors were white and didn't speak Spanish. And since I had a little experience with nursing school, I went from being a translator to drawing blood. And the clients loved me because they said I had excellent hands. They even said, I wish I would have known you or you would have been my shooting partner.
This is one of my cards. Does it have my name on it? We used to be at the entranceway, and we had a big box at the entranceway. When the addicts used to come in, we used to say to them, put your weapons here. When you leave, you'll get them back. And of course, this is what they used to do. So they had zip guns. They had knives that were called 007s. They have ice picks. They carried all this stuff because when they were out there in the street, you never know when you were going to get mugged or you actually were going to do the mugging, right?
Your eyes are brown, your hair is brown, your height is 5'6", you said? Yeah. Okay, you haven't had a physical, blood test, you're not a handicap? All right, now listen, I'm gonna put my name on your card. That's my home number, all right? And if you have any problem where you can't get in there, you call me up, all right?
And then once we had doctors from Lincoln Hospital who said that they were going to be responsible, that's when we brought Mutulu in, okay, because we had a medical director, and we wanted to have a director that had revolutionary consciousness.
I was just a sister that came to the clinic, was really messed up. I didn't know anything. I was not politically conscious of anything. I was just trouble. I've learned a lot of things as I've been there in terms of helping your people, making it better for your people. You know, I learned about the streets and the drugs to that nature, you know, and what it was doing to our people.
That's why the political classes, the political education classes, we used to call them PE classes, were so important because we gave them history. We gave them history about what happened in Africa, what happened in China, what happened in Puerto Rico, the political movements that were stopped because of the drugs.
We started realizing a lot more of who we was, thinking about our African roots, realizing that the names that our parents carried were the names of slave masters that our forefathers had. And that's what we used to call them. What was your slave name? You know? And most of us that changed our name wanted to get rid of those slave names. And we wanted names that more accurately portrayed who and what we were.
You figure, yeah, you've been oppressed all your life, right? So then you wonder where that is coming from, right? But they forget to tell you, right, that the problem really comes from the system. Because who oppresses your mother? Who oppresses your father, right? The system. The system oppresses your father, so therefore they oppress you, you know? And when they start oppressing you, like you hanging out in the streets, right? And the only solution that you have...
I don't know if you've ever seen a drug addict detox, but it is horrible. They have chills, they're sick, they're cold sometimes, they're hot sometimes. It is really, really, it's a horrible... That's why people don't want to get off of drugs, because it's such a horrible experience, you know, the actual body detoxing.
My poem was Jones coming down. You know, daybreaks, got the shakes, nose running, joint dripping, mind slipping, body aches. Jones coming down.
Got an attitude, fighting mad, feeling bad, funeral sad, another 24-hour drag. Jim, I needs me some scab. Pawn my brother's do-rag to cop me a transparent thin bag. You see, cause I'm strung out.
On a white witch, my time is bitch riding a white horse into my main vein. Damn, baby, I got to kill this pain.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse. In order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
If you are a heroin addict, you need upwards of $100 a day to buy heroin to feed your addiction. And you will literally do anything to get some heroin to relieve the withdrawal. Nixon was under a lot of pressure to show real evidence that he was cutting down on black street crime. And you get those people into a program where they are getting methadone every day, they have no withdrawal symptoms. And they have no need to go out and steal or hold somebody up at gunpoint. So there's a direct correlation. The more people on methadone, the lower the crime rate.
It's then possible to get access to the person on a regular basis. The very fact that it's addicting is one of its real attributes. Once a person is on methadone, he has to come back every day.
Methadone itself in 1970 is not a new drug. What was novel was its use as a maintenance drug, meaning that someone who used to use heroin several times a day indefinitely could use methadone once a day indefinitely. They would be maintained on it, not detoxified with it. If you're coming from a place that is very critical of federal, state, and local government and how it treats Black people, brown people, poor people, Asian people, you understandably might come to regard methadone maintenance with some suspicion. because it is regulated and in large part dispensed by the government.
I'm a Puerto Rican, and we came here and we went to fight for the United States. If we can fight for them, why can't they fight for us Vietnam veterans?
I got hooked in Vietnam, you know, with drugs. So then, after I came from over there, you know, I couldn't get any jobs over here, so I went to the welfare center, and they told me, you have to get into a methadone program, and if you don't get into a methadone program, you won't be able to get help.
What's methadone doing for you? Is it helping you?
Getting me high, that's all. That's all.
What they saw was that was just replacing one addiction with another. And what they wanted to do at Lincoln Detox is have a chemical-free way of detoxing heroin, and also a methadone for that matter.
By 72, we started looking around for an alternative. We no longer wanted to use methadone. Dr. Mutulu Shakur, if it wasn't for his leadership, I don't think we ever would have done what we did. And he was the one who found this article in the newspaper.
That an acupuncturist who was treating someone with respiratory problems, who also happened to be addicted to opium, had found that by stimulating the lung point of the ear, did not only help the respiratory problem, but also took away the withdrawal symptoms of opium.
So there were 6 of us there, and we each would read a paragraph. And when we read that article, everybody sort of, the light was turned on, and we said, wait, why don't we do this?
When I walked into the program, I was 17 and a half years old, or 18. And I walked into the program and I saw this old man with needles in him. And I said, these people are really crazy in here. They sticking needles in folk and that kind of thing. I need to get up out of here. But I stayed because I wanted to get off of the drugs. So that was the first time I saw acupuncture. I stayed in the treatment program, and as I stayed in the treatment program, I began to politicize myself. I began to educate myself and study, about movement stuff and politics and philosophies, etc. Shortly thereafter that, I began to study acupuncture under Dr. Mutulu Shakur.
When the patients or victims would come up, we would say, well, listen, we're not going to give you no methadone today, but what we're going to do is massage your feet, we massage your back, and we massage your ears. And what we would use, we're going to use our finger. And so, before we even got needles.
Gary.
A whole lot of other films with Dr. Mutulu, Google Dr. Mutulu, go to not Facebook, what's the other book? YouTube, and you can get the information. There is so many documented pieces on them. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring up the panel now. And brother, who's going to put the chairs up? Okay, I need 4 chairs. 5 chairs, okay. All right, that's Brother Bigga. So, like I said, the rest of the documentation is there. Again, Brother Kakai is giving away for a donation acupuncture treatment. He's good at what he do. And he also have other herbs. Me, myself, he came to town. I'm just talking while he bringing the chairs up. He came to town. I wasn't feeling real good. I was at the Locks conference. And myself, Sister Cheryl, and another sister, met with him, and he was at, oh, you know what? We didn't play Brother Sabukwe. Where is Dr. Ahmed? Yeah. And also we got to put him in. Dr. Ahmed, for those of you who don't know who Dr. Ahmed is very important. And some people know Miss Max Stanford. And we know Miss Dr. Ahmed. No, he's sick as well too. But a brother brought he videoed a piece so that people could, so he can express his feelings about Dr. Mutulu and what he meant to him. And Dr. Mutulu, on his last speaking engagement, spoke very highly of Dr. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed is from Philadelphia, and RAM organization, if you don't know anything about RAM, look it up. It's Revolutionary Action Movement. I'm quite sure y'all probably talk about him, as well. But again, we're going to bring the panel up. Brother Razakhan Shaheed is going to take over now from Nation Time. Yeah.
Hey family, Uzi Bilahi Ben Shaitan Rajim. I generally say that before I say anything. It just means I seek refuge in Allah from Satan the curse, but in my heart and mind I say I seek refuge in the Creator from the madness that we are forced to live in. And this is a mad world, you know what I mean? They try to make sane people think they mad, and it really throws things off. I'm with Nation Time Judicial Research, and what we do is legal research for incarcerated individuals across the nation. What we do is train, we got paralegals in almost every institution, quite a few institutions. Like we about 400 strong, and each one teach one, and that's what we be doing. But now I'm not associating with groups, organizations. We don't get no money because they asked me to change my mission statement. I want to read it for you. Nation Time Judicial Research mission statement is to reverse the unjust, illegal, discriminatory way Americans' apartheid judicial system is applied. We will seek the exoneration and the restoration to society of persons who have been wrongly convicted. We will pursue the arrest and conviction and or punishment of judges, prosecutors, police who knowingly hide, lie, falsify, or manufacture evidence, false evidence, which results in an innocent person going to jail, especially those sent to death row. We will submit to our subscribers legal, local, and worldwide information normally unavailable to indigent incarcerated persons. Because we are primarily all certified paralegals, our duties are to first do legal research for incarcerated indigent individuals, all indigent persons trying to get back into court. If we see through our research they have been illegally convicted, we will raise funds to hire lawyers to represent them. Nation Time has a mailing list of 400 incarcerated persons. Our goal is to provide educational, judicial, political, current affairs, any and all material that would be helpful for individuals returning to court, returning to society. And the reason why they oppose this, because they will tell us we can't send judges to jail. We can't send police to jail. And the only reason why they say that is because they do not follow the law. What we follow is the Constitution. And the Constitution says no one is above the law. That means Clarence Thomas. That means Trump, all of them. And, and it's so ridiculous. I mean, I'm a news junkie. I used to love it. I can't stand watching them jokers no more. Cause they're not lying. They just don't say nothing. The people is lying all around them and they won't say nothing. Here's a prime example. Here's Trump. He goes to Russia somewhere with Putin in front of the whole world. he commits treason. He tell the FBI, the CIA, and national intelligence is telling them we got evidence that Putin did this, Putin did that. Trump said on international television, well, Putin didn't say he did that. So I believe him rather than y'all. That is treason. Here you go, take Putin in a private office, him and a secretary, him and a subscriber, and says, nobody can come in here but me and Putin, and tell the woman that don't tell nobody what we talked about. I mean, are you kidding me? And then they're going to run around and we were supposed to get excited because they trying to find out who he done paid to screw. God damn, we getting ready to die. They say, well, he can't win election like that. He don't want to win. He wants civil war. Because this is what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? His Treasury Secretary, Betsy DeVos, the dumbest broad that ever lived, made her the head of education. But you know why he did that? Her brother is named Eric Prince. He's a Navy SEAL, and he owns Blackwater. Blackwater is that revolutionary group that they outsource the war to. You know what I'm saying? All they want is something. I mean, they want to make it look like, the Democrats are such cowards. I wanted to call them something else, but that's too good for them. You know what I mean? They such cowards. And then they want you to respect them. But our thing has been, we stand down. For 28 years, I was incarcerated. All I studied was law and religion. And seemed like both of them kind of like failed me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get into, like they say, get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? I follow individuals. That's why I was stuck on Iman Al-Amin, Mumia Abu-Jamal. I followed the Black Panthers. I followed the Black Liberation Army. I followed their work. We was on the outside looking in. And this brother here, Imam Lukman Abdullah, he had 35 young groups across the nation that they would, I should have kept my cane with me. It fell off my face. Yeah. He had 35 youth groups that they were out of Detroit. He had a warehouse. And they would collect clothes, food, building materials, all that kind of stuff. They would teach these young kids. All of them were street dudes, hustlers, and all that kind of stuff. They would teach them how to.
I was born in the Congo. I walked.
What did that mean? Shut up. Oh, yeah. He was showing them how to rebuild their whole communities. You know what I'm saying? The government assassinated them. But do you know who they used to assassinate him? A Muslim imam from Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Muslim. And I would ask any Muslims anywhere, where in Islam is anything called a royal family? You won't find it. They hypocrites. You know what I mean? But to say that, well, they told me I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed any goddamn way. That's what I want. The prophets say, if you believe what you say, pray for death. All I want to do is die on the front line. Don't let me weaken. Don't let me surrender no time. And that's it.
You're supposed to introduce Shomari.
Oh, you should have told me that.
Give it up for Baba Rise again. He ain't playing. Because you heard what he said. What that mean? What that mean?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, brother Shomari. Oh, he's in the back. Okay. I'm supposed to introduce the brother. He is a magnificent brother. He tried to put me on the radio, but I get so excited sometimes, I might say anything, and we all get thrown off that motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, here you go, brother.
Greetings, good evening, everybody. Seriously. So what I would like to do, because I don't have the paper in front of me, I'm going to ask if you know you're supposed to be on this panel. I'm going to ask you to come up front so we can get started. and we could jump right in, and then I'm going to have you introduce yourself. The brother right there, Brother Dre, has microphones. There's an entrance on this side or up the front. And I'm looking for Dre so I can get these microphones in everybody's hands so we can get started.
They got 45 minutes. Anybody seen John?
How you doing? Thank you, brother.
Do we need another seat? Oh, I got you, Bob.
I can stand up. I'm good.
No.
How's everybody doing out there?
All right.
I can't really see y'all, but I believe it's good. So if you want to, you can take this time. Feel free. We had the donation bucket. If you haven't had a chance to support the cause by dropping in a love offering, a donation, whatever it is you want to call it, feel free to do so. We'll probably be ready in about the next 3 to 5 minutes, it looks like.
Testing.
Yeah. Yes, sir. If that's cool.
Your light is just
All right, we got everybody? Oh, that's even more. How many of y'all had a chance to hear the interview with the brother Kakai earlier today? Anybody listen to that? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm trying to see if he's here. I can't. I really can't. I wanted to meet the brother before I jumped up here, but I can't really see. Oh, okay. All right. I see somebody moving. Just wanted to say hi. Greetings, brother. It was a pleasure talking to you earlier today. Much thanks. Glad to see you made it down. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I need it. So I'm looking for the sign. Are we started? Should I go? Oh, okay. All right, let's go. All right, Coach. So greetings. I'm Eric Keith Grimes, Brother Shomari. I have the privilege and the honor of moderating a panel. I'm going to try to get out of the way as much as possible. But I'm going to ask each of you to take a minute to introduce yourself and let people know who you are and why you're here with us today. So because that's a big question, I'll give you 90 seconds. I'll start at the end with Brother Johdhi and work our way down.
My name is Harrel, and I'm here today because I had the honor and the pleasure of being with Dr. Mutulu Shakur for 12 years in 3 different federal institutions. I first met him in USP Lewisburg, and then I got transferred to USP Atlanta for leading the work strike, and several months later, he came down there, and we were there for many, many years, and we formed, we called a circle of consciousness where any brother in the prison who wanted to change his life, who wanted to educate himself, and most importantly, prepare himself to go back out into our community and to build community and to atone for the things that we had done in our past. I left Doc in 2007. He was transferred to ADX, and I went home in 2009. And all of the work that I've been blessed to do here in the city of Philadelphia and across the country, I lay at the feet of Doc. Right. He was a mentor, a friend, a comrade, one of the most incredible human beings you will ever meet, and I hope to convey a little bit of that to you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Mic check. Can everybody hear me? All power to the people and free the land. What's the call? These Negroes is dead. What's the call? What's the call? What's the call? I'm here because Razakhan told me to come. Our brother Zayed Muhammad. I'm looking forward to meeting Dr. Mutulu Shakur. In the mid-1980s, around the time I was just beginning to do work around political prisoners, Mutulu was just going into captivity. I was in my 20s then. I'm in my 60s now. We need to thank the God of our ancestors and everybody else who will punch a cracker in the face to the umpteenth that Mutulu Shakur is home. I'm the lead organizer and founding press officer for the Malcolm X Commemoration Committee in New York City, and I'm an old street cat from up south in Newark, New Jersey.
Greetings.
Greetings and good afternoon, or is it evening? I don't know. It's after 5, right? It's evening. So I'm honored to be here. I was also invited to be here by Sister Pam and Brother Razakhan. My name is Dequi Kiona Sadiki, and I am here because I am a freedom-loving, new African, Cherokee, Shinnecock black woman. And I work with and on behalf of U.S.-held political prisoners and prisoners of war, particularly those long-held, decades-long-held Black Panther and Black Liberation Army political prisoners and some of the white anti-imperialist political prisoners that have been in prison for decades. So I am an organizer, an educator, and political prisoners, their lives are not just history. These are my family members, right? They are family. We break bread even though it's on the inside of the wall. They call our house. We write. Brother Mogadishu made sure when, I'm also married to this man here, Sekou Odinga, right? So.
Most important, that's most important.
So when Sekou was inside, and I won't give away his bio, but that brother right there, Mogadishu, made sure that I got to see him as much as I could. And not only to see Sekou, but to go visit other political prisoners. So that's why I'm here, because it's not theory, it's real life. And if we believe that they can come home, then we will put that into action, right? So we have to believe that our political prisoners will be home so that we do, as Brother Umar said, and do the work to make that happen, right? So that's why I'm here, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. My name is Sekou Abdullah Odinga. I'm a founding member of the New York State Black Panther Party, first section leader of the Bronx, Harlem section, founding member of the international section of the Black Panther Party, soldier of the Black Liberation Army, former political prisoner, prisoner of war in the U.S., colony of New Africa, founding member of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, part of the CC Spirit of Mandela Coalition in New York, or in the country actually. A little about me.
All right, let's show some love and appreciation for everybody who's here. I want to jump right in with a basic question that's for me. I like the way you act like you were just whispering. That was funny.
Let me also say that I'm a close comrade of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. I've known him since he was 13 years old. We come out of the same neighborhood in Queens, New York. I guess that's one of the reasons that I was invited to come up here also.
And I was just notified that we have one more person joining us, so if they're here, they can come up, they can grab my seat.
That's the man. Dr. Mac. Good to see you, man.
All right, so I was told that he's the man, and I'd like you to introduce yourself, and we can begin.
Okay, Hotep brothers and sisters, my name is James McIntosh, and I'm here representing the organization CMOTAP, Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People.
All right, so I'd like to welcome all of you who are from out of town to Philly. So I just want to do something real quick. I might be wrong. I might get slapped a little bit, but I'll start here. In our city in Philly, oftentimes events regarding political prisoners, movements regarding political prisoners, sometimes it feels like we don't get a lot of black love at these things. Like I'm really pleased at this event to see, my brothers and sisters in the room here in support. I'm wondering from each of you, as briefly as possible, but as concise as possible. This event is called More Love for Mutulu Shakur. How can we as black people begin to show more love to our political prisoners who stood on the front lines of liberation struggles during their lifetime, many as young people? And it seems like in some ways we're not reciprocating the love that people of a culture who respect warriorhood would do. We're not showing love to our warriors. How can we as the village, show more love to our political prisoners? And let's start with you, Dr. McIntosh, and work our way down.
Okay, when we talk about different political prisoners and say pretty much the same situation, I think that what I've seen has helped in the past is sending letters. And it can't, you can't expect the masses of the public to know that that's something they should do. Through different organizations, you have one person or two people in there who understand what has to be done, and there are many different opportunities to do what I just said, to send letters. So what we do at CMOTAP is at Kwanzaa time, we make postcards, and we take several political prisoners. We don't do all of them all at one time. And we have each of the youngsters fill those cards out. On the back of the card, it would say something like 7 reasons why this person should be free, and we teach them that. So people have to be taught, take those opportunities, and of course, money is always a good way of showing some love. At CMOTAP, I think we might have had probably one of the most successful, events for political prisoners, specifically for Mutulu. We had a series of debates called the Great Harlem Debate. It was a perfect time and a perfect moment. The first Great Harlem Debate actually filled up an auditorium that holds, it's the largest auditorium in Harlem. It's the Salem United Methodist Church, larger than Abyssinian. And what it was when Obama had been elected but had not yet taken office. So people who understand need to be creative in figuring out how to educate. They need to be assertive in getting their organization to send concrete support, like letters, postcards, and money, and that sort of thing. So I didn't mean to go on too long.
Oh, it's good. So for the crew, this is what I'm going to ask the questions, but I want you, as you're answering, to look out to the audience. It just makes for better visuals.
That
one.
light right there.
That light is serious, though. I know. That's why I moved over here and I gave you that seat. Number 2, I'm going to ask you to hold the mic up to your mouth so that the audio is really solid, just right in front of your voice. And number 3, if I do this, that gives you about the 1-minute wind down warning. I try to be discreet, but I'm not always really discreet. Baba Sekou.
Okay, I would just pretty much echo what Dr. Mack just said. I think when we talk about how we can get people more involved, it starts with education. It starts with knowing. If you don't know, you don't know. So you're not gonna do anything. But once we start educating people like this is a good example of how to educate. Have programs, invite people, invite the community. Hopefully there'll be people come that have not been before, and they'll take the message home with them or to their church, to their organization, their club, whatever it is, you know. We need to educate, encourage people to continue that education by teaching those that they're around. And remember their families, you know. One of the ways that we definitely can help our political prisoners is to help their families. You know, don't forget their family, their wives, their children, their parents. They have to try to get to see them. Usually they're far away from where they're from, you know. So I know people used to organize fundraisers to help bring my children to see me when I was in prison. I did 33 years in different gulags in the Sekou country. And my wife and my children, they didn't always have money to get to see me. So people would help raise money. So help the family. Remember that they are an extension of our political prisoners. And help organize legal funds, I'm sorry. I said enough?
I was being discreet, though. Finish your thought, though.
Yeah, but money. And I won't say how you do it, but there's so many ways money can help. And in particular, I want to say this before I'm cut off. Mutulu just come home. He came home with nothing. You know, you have to remember that when we come home, they don't give us no pension or nothing. They don't give us no weekly allowance or monthly allowance. We come home with nothing. He has nothing. He has a lot of medical bills. I'm talking about thousands of dollars worth of medical bills. And that's one way this is what this is supposed to be also, is a fundraiser for Mutulu. Dig in your pockets.
That's right.
You know?
And write checks. You know, checks are still good in America for a couple more days.
Thank you, babe. Well, Dr. Mack and Sekou said a lot of what is like pretty obvious, because none of us, we don't know what we don't know. And there was a time that I did not know that there were political prisoners in this country. So if you don't know, and that's on purpose, part of it is countering the narrative about the Black freedom struggle, right? Not only that it didn't start with the so-called civil rights movement, right? But that how the Black liberation movement has been marginalized and demonized out of the Black freedom struggle, right? And so when we have to educate people about that, COINTELPRO did a masterful job at scaring people into not wanting to be considered, quote, radical or revolutionary, right? Radical just means at the root, right? But they've made people afraid of that. So I've been working on behalf of political prisoners for I would say 30 years, and it's only in the last 10 years that more people have added political prisoners to their platforms. And that was on purpose. So even in activist circles, they were marginalized, right? And that's COINTELPRO. That is countering the narrative of this system when they talk about our political prisoners being violent, right? Like it's been said, what's more violent than poverty or homelessness or miseducation? So as an educator, I educate young people, both in the high school system and the college level when I was working, that there are political prisoners. Don't believe the narrative about this is the land of freedom and democracy. So the artists, like Sister Regina, who got up here and did a poem, the supporting artists who do the work of naming political prisoners, who talk about struggle in their art form. Right?
And I would also say press them. I mean, if a hip-hop boy can rap about Italian mafia gangsters as if they were glorified, I'll be damned if they can't rap about our brothers and sisters who were putting it down on behalf of our struggle. And we should demand that of them.
Right.
You know, you
But it's the
naming
fear.
yourself after Italian and Jewish gangsters, and yet you scared to say the name
Because
of...
that's mainstreamed. Our black freedom struggle, the radical elements of the black freedom struggle have been marginalized and demonized.
Yes.
So we need people to call them up and speak their name. And for other people like the artists, poets, musicians, rappers, all of that, and some of us, I love clothes, and everybody who knows me knows I love clothes.
Killing
so my
it.
fashion
Killing
speaks
it.
to political prisoners. I have T-shirts that I turn into dresses and earrings that have political prisoners painted on them. There's so many different
Wearable art.
ways, right? Wearable art. This is, wearable black freedom struggle.
All right, appreciate it.
Just to build on what some of everybody said, the point that first I want to say this. This is a fairly young audience, right? So to the organizers of this, right on, give yourselves a round of applause. We got some seeds that we got to cultivate to grow this, right? Political education, I mean, there's a hunger in our community for political education, particularly amongst our young. Our young that gave us just 2 summers ago the largest protest history in the history of this racist, rotten-ass country, right? So if they're hungry, damn it, it's our responsibility to feed them, right? When I was a young poet, right, I used to sit up under people like the late Ahmad Obafemi and the late Alombe Brath and the late Chokwe Lumumba. And somebody by the name of Sada came out with this book. And I did this crazy thing of hosting the first book party for her in just up the road in up South Jersey, right? You want to hear how wild and horrific and racist and scary these crackers are in the demonizing of our political prisoners. Walk through that, right? I mean, I was just saying earlier that I was picking this up as Mutulu was going in. Jersey press, New York press was, and all of its liberal facade was off the chain, full of hate and the demonization of these great warriors who we love, right? So it's our responsibility to counter that with community-based political education, and Baba McIntosh, you'll appreciate this. I have a comrade that I go back 45 years with. His name is Lawrence Ham, Adimo Changa, right? And he had the best known organization in my town at the time. And he used to look at me like I had 9 heads when I talked about these freedom fighters, right? And then the death warrant was signed for Mumia. I said, I got 9 heads now, Negro? No. So then people like that started to see that this was some real stuff. This was not no abstract stuff. And the state was absolutely capable. We need to be clear about this, because we do this to win. We do this to get them out. We want no more casualties beyond these walls. They are capable of taking our freedom fighters out if we're not doing what we need to do to free them, right? So as long as these seeds are hungry, it is our responsibility to feed them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I definitely agree with all that has been said before, but I also think that one thing we can really do is be inspired by our political prisoners. Emulate their lives. Work on behalf of them. These are brothers and sisters who have literally given their life to the struggle. And many of our young folks don't even know them. In my own life, I run the TCRC Community Healing Center. And we do 3 things very well, and they're all based on Doc's work and teachings. First of all, Doc was very focused on, he thought he was never coming home. But those of us who he knew was coming home, he said it was our responsibility to go back out into the community and to build a community. So we started our work helping folks who were released to build solid lives, to reconnect with their children, to value freedom above all else, so that there would never be a time when the police and the system could take our freedom based upon our actions. Also, Doc was the consummate peacemaker. So we do conflict resolution. In USP Atlanta, there was no sanctioned violence. We were the only penitentiary in the country where there were no murders, no violence, unless it was sanctioned by the OGs of each community. He made peace. He made peace between the Bloods and the Crips, the Gangster Disciples, and every major group in the prison, even the skinheads and the white boys. That's how much respect he had. How can we not teach our young people to resolve their own conflicts without murdering each other? And finally, food scarcity. We based our program on the Black Panthers breakfast program and feeding the community. Last month, we fed 25,677 persons across the city of Philadelphia. Mondays, we serve in West Philadelphia at the First African Baptist Church, 67th and Lansdowne. Wednesday, we're in Nicetown at the Nazarene Baptist Church. And on Fridays, today, which is why I was a little late, we feed at the Temple University Community Gardens. And we not only feed formerly incarcerated people, we feed everyone. We feed Temple University's Cherry Pantry. We feed across the city. And we do it in a spirit of community, not handouts. We don't give you bags. We set up chicken and eggs and fish and dry goods and vegetables on long tables under tents, and you come and you pick the food you want for your family because we are your family, because you are our community. We need to look at our heroes, our political prisoners, and focus our life work in honor of their lives.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so I see my discreet tap did not work, so I'm gonna get a black power fist now when it's time to. So what I want to do, there are different things. You talked about modeling and inspiration, and that's an interesting thing for me. I remember looking at a document called, I think it's called Genocide Waged, that was co-written by Dr. Shakur and many others, talking about just the way that medicine, chemical warfare through behavior modification drugs would be used, how it's used on the inside, and warning us and forewarning us that it's going to be coming to us on the outside. And so when I think about now how opioids, heroin, this is my opinion, don't shoot me. I don't trust these people with what they're going to do with cannabis and weed. I think that they're turning it into a commodity that's going to be used as a weapon against us. I just think we have some, I think that document for me, written a long time ago, 20 plus years ago, is very foretelling about the world we're about to enter if we don't understand how we need to take care of ourselves from a holistic perspective. So I just wanted to share that because that's like a nugget that I pulled that in my journey, I'm like, wow, I came across that outside of the different other ways we might know of our political prisoners. I'm wondering for each of you, what's a nugget that you model in the spirit that Brother John Dye just shared? What's a nugget that you pull from the life and the legacy of Mutulu Shakur, who's still with us, but what is it that you're embodying now in your walk forward that's coming from or rooted in that essence, his essence? I'm going to start here this time.
No problem.
I ain't ready.
Uh-oh. Okay, if you're ready, then I'm going to start with you. Whoever's ready. Share that nugget.
Okay.
And keep it nugget size.
Absolutely. The fact that Dr. Shakur is a healer. I've tried to work with, I've worked with a lot of prisoners in a lot of different situations and settings, and I have to say I'm inspired by Dr. Shakur. That piece you said about the warfare, though, I have to say something, and that is that Dr. Shakur and Jamil El-Amin both came down with bone marrow cancer after being in Florence maximum security prison. Now they have hundreds, maybe even thousands of cameras there, but what some people don't know is some of these prisons, and I would imagine Florence would have to, they have radiological surveillance. Okay, now radiation is something that could cause a disease that only occurs in 0.8 of 1% of the population to occur in 2 prominent political prisoners at the same time. So that's a different type of nugget, but I just wanted to share that.
No, share it, because I think it's important that we understand.
So I wrote an article about it, and a friend of mine would connect to, the NMA. He tried to get it there, but they put it in something called a North Star. But it seems to have just fallen on deaf ears. Because at the bare minimum, Mutulu shouldn't need a penny if you prove that it's radiological surveillance that radiation has caused this, and we don't know how many others. Of the Move 9, 4 of them at least have come down with cancers. And these were people that were into health, into diet, into exercise. So, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I would love for a lawyer to take that on, because I believe this is real. I mean, it's not, this ain't conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
The alternative to conspiracy theory is what? Coincidence theory. It's not a coincidence. These things are happening because there's a design.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. I would say for me, Abdul Majid was murdered by the state of New York. He kept complaining about a pain in his side, and they just told him to take, ibuprofen or Advil. And Majid died from his gallbladder erupting. So 2 things Majid always said: freedom ain't free, and it don't come cheap, and all politics is local. So those 2 things, those are nuggets that I've taken in my life and in my work, that if I say that I'm tired, which I have been tired over the last 30 years, I'm not tireless, because people always try to say that. No, I'm not tireless. But I know that freedom ain't free. And I know that Majid, like Sekou, like Sundiata, like Mutulu, like Bashir Hamid and Teddy Jaheed, and, Noah Washington, who was the first political prisoner I met in the 1990s. They paid for their service to the Black freedom struggle with their lives. So that's a nugget for me, that freedom ain't free. And meeting these folks who, like BC, who's in the audience, right? Meeting sisters and brothers who were in the Black Panther Party, recognizing myself in them, recognizing our ancestors in them. That ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And so that's a nugget that I take from our political prisoners and our freedom fighters, that we're ordinary people that are just fed up with oppression and injustice and the genocide of our people, and we can all do something in the cause, because freedom ain't free. And we named our CD when Sekou was inside. I see you patting, right? We did our CD, Mogadishu and I, right? Poetry, rap, Makaya was on it, a whole bunch of Bilal Sunni Ali is on it, and we called it Freedom Ain't Free, a tribute to the Black and New African freedom struggle and the Black and New African political prisoners, because that's what Majid always said.
Just thinking about Mutulu, when I think about something he said, I usually think more about what he did. But one of his sayings was, Paul said, do it all, or try it all. I forget how he used to say it, but he was basically saying, do everything you can. And he was one of those brothers that did a whole lot. He was not only a healer, he was a soldier, he was an organizer, he was a political commissar. he was a hell of a speaker, you know. He's the one that brought me into the RNA. He was organizing in Queens back in '68 when I became a conscious citizen of the RNA. So for me, when I try to think of a nugget from Mutulu, I think of his activity. He did a little bit of everything, and he did it well. He did almost everything he did well, you know. He had an unlimited amount of energy. If you ever knew him back in the day before he went to prison, he run in the morning, he run 5 miles, and then again he turned around in the evening and run another 7, 8 miles. I mean, he just had, and work all day long. I mean, he's constantly doing, you know. So for me, when I think of him, and a nugget from him, those are the nuggets I get from him. Do it.
All right.
Don't just talk about it, do it, you know. Study, take what you learn, and put it into action. Turn your study into activity. You know?
Ashe. Wow. Y'all saw me cringe as she started going down the list of some of those names that she started with Majid. Those are some of the names of folks that we lost inside, right? In fact, we were getting ready to start turning it up for a fresh campaign to get Majid out when we lost him, you know? So tell no lies, claim no easy victories. There's not, at every turning point in his life, Mutulu's life was a demonstration of courage and commitment. You know, when we in these cracker schools, and they talk about our history and the pioneers of America, right? Dr. Mutulu Shakur is a pioneer in medicine. Let's be real clear about it. He's a pioneering acupuncturist, a pioneering healer, right? 17, 18 years old, around the time him and Sekou were connecting, this young soldier, when the provisional government of Republic of New Africa comes under armed fire by the Detroit police in a church, that young soldier with his body covered down on his elder Herman Ferguson and his wife Ialua Ferguson, right? Teenager, right? And then he would come out of that and start doing all these amazing things that we were doing. Talk about the question of political prisoners in the late 70s when we found out about COINTELPRO, the one pulling us together and trying to take that into the international arena was Mutulu, right? And then, of course, when the party took that epic trip to China and he saw acupuncture doing all sorts of stuff and looking at our community under this siege of the war on drugs, which was the war on us when they dropped all that heroin into our streets to take us out of the streets. Here is a modality that I just saw in China that we can use on our streets to clean a whole lot of folks that need to be cleaned up. And he was not a medical doctor, right? But he took it upon himself. He had the creative courage on top of his military courage to dare to pick up a tool like that. And all the doctors around him, he made them better. He made them better and became the embodiment of what we were struggling for at the time around the question of health and medical care and medical treatment, right, in a revolutionary way. So, you know, on top of everything that everybody said, you know, disciplined, principled in this work that we do, we honor the values of our freedom fighters. Right? And we dare to be disciplined in our work, and we dare to be principled in our work. And when folks come among us who are not disciplined and who are unprincipled, it's important to expose that so that stuff doesn't create something else in the mix that can mean something else. Because COINTELPRO is still real.
I agree with that. So what I want to do, I'm getting a 5-minute warning. I'm actually, like I do on the radio, I'm going to ignore that I saw that. And I'm going to open up the floor. Like I said, I want to move out the way. I had 3 questions. So brother just handed me 1 question. So I have room for 2 questions. So if you have a question, raise your hand now so I know to come to you. And make sure that you designate who you want to answer. So no more than 2 people to answer your question. Raise your hand now. Going once. I can't really see, so it doesn't matter. I see a hand in the back. I don't know who it belongs to, but I see you. Anybody else? And right there. So, brother, I'm going to come to you first. Instead of me asking your question, I want you to ask it.
This question goes to everybody up there, Sekou and Dequi. How is Dr. Shakur's work being implemented today, and how do we continue to support that work?
Well, there's some organizations around that's continuing. You know, we think of Dr. Mutulu as the father of acupuncture. And there's acupuncturists, black acupuncturists of color all over this country. In particular, the brother that just spoke there, Dr. Kokai, has an organization, the ADA, in D.C. and Atlanta, Georgia, the 2 places I know for sure because I've been treated by them in both places and seen some of the wonderful work that they're doing there. That carries on Dr. Mutulu Shakur's work, the things that he started, the acupuncture. But there's others. When I first come home, I had some respiratory problems, and I used to go to one of his students who had a big acupuncture clinic downtown New York, in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, where all the wealthy folks are. She had opened her center. It was a middle-aged white woman, so she probably had the money to be able to do that. But anyhow, that was some more of his work being done and carried on. I went to them, and because of my connection with Mutulu, they treated me for free. And I got, for 2 years, they treated me for free. You know, so.
It wasn't free though, babe. You paid with 33 years. That's right.
That's right. Well, all right. Well, they didn't charge me anything more, and they didn't charge me that. That was the state that charged me for the. But all right, point well taken though. You know, but I'll pass it on.
Yes. I think that the work of Dr. Mutulu Shakur is continuing in the fact that, understand, in the circle of consciousness, we train brothers to go back out in the community and do the same work we were doing inside. So when the prison authorities felt we had too much power and they scattered us across the system, all they were doing was planting the seeds of Doc's teachings across the system. And I know so many brothers who are doing the work now. We had writers' classes, and there are authors who are creating works. We have folks who are directors of organizations who are doing the work, and especially Doc taught us the love of a black family. That was a major philosophy. Strong black fathers shouldering their responsibilities, nurturing black mothers, the children who respect the past and are focused on the present so they can build the future. This is the genesis of Doc's work, and we continue that across the country. And all who love Doc, all who read his materials, and here's his philosophy, that's how we uphold. That's the nugget. Do the work that he loved. Do what Doc would have wanted us to do for the rest of our lives.
And can I just add, I'm sorry, can I just add, I just want to say, go to Dr. Kakai's table over there, right? One of the things is, when the brother is talking about passing it on, when we saw him in, we went to the event in D.C., Not only does he have those materials, those healing things, modalities over there, but he's teaching young people. The sister Kaylin over there is an acupuncturist now, right, who works with him. There was a 10-year-old girl that was doing acupuncture in Washington, D.C. So it's yes, right. Like, she has all kinds of chaos and drama in her family, and he was treating the family, but the little girl is going right back there. So now this little girl is treating her family and other people. So it's passing it on in all those ways.
How y'all doing? My question is, it's two parts. I got a two-part question. So, you hear me now? Yes. There you go. This is to whoever's most knowledgeable about the Panthers. My question is, one, how can you join the Black Panthers? And two, how can we push the Black Panthers to the forefront of the Black community?
One person who wants to tackle that.
Well, the original Black Panther Party no longer exists. COINTELPRO was pretty successful in destroying it. But you can carry on that work of the Panthers by creating organizations, structures that can carry on the work. The things that, like, I heard somebody say, I think my wife said it earlier, that just ordinary people were doing these extraordinary things. Mutulu was just an ordinary guy. I ain't gonna say, little raggedy brother running around through Queens, and then look at all the extraordinary things he's done in his life. He was just a regular dude. Asada was just a regular little girl coming out. She came out of Queens too, Baisley Park, but just did some extraordinary things, you know. So it's ordinary people doing the work, and it becomes extraordinary because it ain't enough of us doing it.
I see.
If more people was doing it, it would be just natural. And it is a natural thing that we should be doing. So when you ask how organized, as Kwame said, organized, and you say how organized, you know, come together, talk about what we can do, how we can do it, who wants to do it with us. Yeah, that's how, bro.
If I could say one thing.
I was born in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx.
I love that Nikki Giovanni.
That a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pain created the Nile.
Could I say one thing, sis? Just as a matter of information. While Doc was incarcerated, he used to buy guitar strings from musicians in the music department and make acupuncture needles. He did acupuncture all the time that I knew him. He didn't stop the work that he started here on the street.
That's right.
And he helped us to build healing communities because he would say, you cannot depend upon your oppressor for your health.
That's right.
So he taught us nutrition and healing, and he did his work the entire time he was down.
We're going to give Mama Pan the final question.
Oh, stand where?
We got two more. Okay.
Oh, okay. I asked the brother to play the music because I thought it was at the end, but we had more time. But I really wanted Dr. McIntosh to talk just a little bit more on the situation. He had sent a letter to us to read, for something he was doing for a paper about the things that was happening in the prison. I want to know when will that paper be released, and because it's very important that everyone in the community hear and understand. In fact, there was Sister Dequi who had told me about it, and she sent it, or did Brother McIntosh send it to us. But it's very important that we understand what is happening inside that prison. Bone cancer is what Brother Jamil Alameen have. Bone cancer is what Brother Mutulu has. I have 4 family members who had cancer in them prisons. And I don't think we pay enough or put enough fight into the issue of what's happening there. Because I want to say this too. What's happening there is happening out here. So we got to arm ourselves. And I was asked when I came up to make 2 announcements. One, Mama Antiola said she got more Jamaican pasta, Rasta pasta, and another thing. Right. And Brother Mutulu is home. And he spent 2 weeks in the hospital, but he came home today. And I can't remember what the hell the third one was. CRS.
But you did have a question. So
yes.
Anything you can add to that?
Yeah. Okay. So it was a paper about psychological stresses. It arose out of I was asked to do the topic, I think by Sister Dequi, right, and Brother Shep, and okay, all right, and then afterward, Jericho asked me to do a paper on it. It's supposed to come out in New Observations journal, and you can get it out at a number of different libraries. When the PDF form of it comes out, I'll distribute it on my email list, and I send a copy to you, Sister Pam, and you can send it wherever you want.
Let me just say this here about incarceration, especially where Mutulu and Imam Jamil Alameen was in Florence. They have you so isolated, they can do anything they want to you, really. And they bring your food to you. So that tray is prepared before it comes into your cell. You don't know what they put in it. You have no idea. They shove it through the door. You eat it if you want it. You throw it away if you don't, But if you're hungry, you're going to probably eat some of it at least, I know when I was there, you almost forced to eat some of it sometime, so. I just wanted to say that. So besides the, what you call it, the
psychological?
No, the electronics.
Besides the radiation.
Radiation. Yeah. Besides that, they could put that radiation in your food. They can do what they want because they got you at their mercy, and they don't have much mercy.
Since you mentioned it, Brother Sekou, there's a number of different things that they do at Florence. To just summarize it, the warden there, you can find it online. He said, in his opinion, incarceration at Florence was far worse than death. He said they designed it so that the incarcerated people can't see the sun. They showed them the view on the way in, and a part of the torture is really to let them know they're never going to see it again. And so they also have a segment of the population that doesn't get to say a word the entire day. The corrections officers won't say anything to them. Nobody, imagine going your whole day without saying anything. Sensory deprivation is one of the most effective forms of torture. So, the article will go into it a little bit more, not just Florence, but there are things that happen to incarcerated people in general. The food is an issue. A study was done with the food where you can see that some of it was totally inedible. Like that's just the average incarcerated person. But if that's the life of the average prisoner, because you got to get a certain amount of sunlight. If you can't see the sun, if you only get 1 hour of yard time, and it's not really a yard, it's a cage, you see, not being in the sun is in itself something that is dangerous and can hurt your bones and can hurt you. But it's bone marrow cancer, which is a rarer cancer that both of them have, but they fool you. They called one of them, they said he had multiple myeloma, and the other one they said bone marrow, but it's the same thing.
And on that note, Baba, we want to land right there because we have a testimony, and we also have some a very important update. Brother Gabe is going to come up and address the family, a very important update on Mumia, but that's actual facts and what you're speaking in regards to our leaders. It happened to Mutulu of course, Baba Mumia, Dr. Malachi York, but we definitely want to make sure that we get this testimony because this is about Baba Mutulu Shakur. All right, give thanks.
Real quick, I want to stay in my lane, so I don't want to take over. I just want to tell you that I had a broken toe. My toe was broken, and I borrowed a cane from Pam, and I could not walk right, and it was all swollen and blimped up, and my toe was a mess, and I went over to Dr. Kakeo, and it's better now. He did his treatment, and it works. And I'm like so grateful that I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Appreciate you. That's why this event is very important.
All right, so I want you all to give our panelists a hand for their time. And I'm going to ask each of you, final words, no more than 45 seconds. I really got to ask you to cut it. As we say, hit it, quit it. Start right here, Baba Jandai. Final words.
Thank you for inviting me. I think that holding up the life and the work and the vision of Dr. Mutulu Shakur is so important. But not just Mutulu, all the political prisoners who have given their lives for our community. It is so important for us to teach our young people what our culture is, what respecting our family is. I look across the city of Philadelphia, 3 blocks from our center, 2 young men walk up to another 15-year-old and shot him in the back of the head. How does that happen? How do we so not value the lives of our family members? Because our young people do not believe they are family. If you live 3 or 4 blocks away from me, you're an enemy. No. Your cousins, your brothers, you are family. We have to teach our young people that they are our family.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now it's winter. So now it's winter in America. All of the healers have been killed or sent away. The people know it's pointed with purpose of generations of my ancestors' eyes. I am here. Sword sharp, slashing through your mountains of lies, leaping from the shoulders of the baddest of Panthers. I am the one refusing to be your well-paid buck dancer, leaping from the shoulders of the baddest of Panthers. I am the X, as in Malcolm in the answer. Long live Dr. Mutulu Shakur. When we gonna raise this money? I got $100 in my pocket. Let's get this in.
All right.
Long live Dr. Mutulu Shakur.
Long live.
Free Mumia. Free Veranza. Free Imam Jamil. Free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all.
Thank you, Zayed. Well, I can't follow that up with a song. But I do want to say thank you to all of you for being here because you could have been anywhere else. I want to say thank you to the organizers, thank you to the healers. And I would encourage people to do something for freedom every day. Do something for our political prisoners, whether it's write a letter, speak their name, post something on Instagram, or young people use, I don't know what they use. TikTok, right? Right? Yeah. Like, say something about a political prisoner. Go to the JerichoMovement.com if you don't know their names, but speak their names into existence every day. But do something for freedom and on behalf of our political prisoners each and every day. And say they will be home.
Well, let me just say, and I'll just say this real loud, real quick. Our annual dinner, we did this together for years, is back this year.
All right.
And COVID and any other that, man. It's back this year. Look for it in Black August.
All right, looking forward.
All right. All I want to do is say thank you to the organizer, thank you to you all who came out, and do something like she said, join an organization that you think is trying to do the work, or organize an organization, create an organization. If you can't find one that you think is doing what you want to do or have goals to do what you're trying to do, organize one that, with someone who thinks like you, and let's do something to make this a better world.
Ashe. Doc.
All right, I'd like to express gratitude. I also would like to just leave people with one health tip. Does anybody out there suffer from backache? Please raise your hand. Anybody have headaches? Please raise your hand. Anybody have abdominal problems and gastric problems? Please raise your hands. I want to tell you the single cause for all of it. Evil spirits. You're carrying them around with you in your wallet. Those dead presidents. They're making you sick. Leave out of here healthy tonight. Get rid of George Washington. I'll stop there. But these people were wicked.
No, keep calling names of them presidents. You gotta go higher.
I could call some of the names.
Yeah, call the presidents out.
There's no question about all of them.
I mean, know how they told you George Washington had wooden teeth?
Yeah.
Lies. Lies. Honestly, there's a book called Enslaved People's Teeth. Yeah, George Washington.
But he's only on the $1 bill, so you got to go to some higher presidents.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, if you want to go to the $100 bill, that's Benjamin Franklin on there, right?
Here we go.
One of the worst hypocrites in the world. He was the head of the Philadelphia Abolition Society, but sold Africans right out of his shop.
Get rid of my presidents.
So, now you can go look it up. Look it up. All of your $100 bills. In fact,
and put them right in here. We can
Semotap sent me here today.
Hold up,
sent
let him finish.
Here today with $500, but under explicit instructions from Betty Dobson. She said, do not give that unless you get 5 people who will match one of those $100 bills.
All right, you got it.
There's 2. How many more? 3, 4.
All right. Here's the money. Bring it up. Cast the spirit into the bucket. 1 second, bro. Ask Mama Pam.
So it should be 2 more, right?
All right, another one. And I'd like to thank Doc for those final inspiring words. And again, let's give a hand to our panel. Let's give a hand to our panel. Brother Gabe.
Those who don't have that 100 can give them. You give them 20, give them 50.
Hey, listen, I said she gave me $500 bills, but she actually, it turned out, gave me 25 $20 bills. Now, the man on that $20 bill is the wickedest European, and I'm not trying to be redundant, the wickedest man that ever lived. Some people say, well, he didn't kill as many as Hitler. He would have killed more if he had more. All right? He marched all the indigenous people to the west of the Rockies, the elderly, the infirm, the sick, told the Africans that if they would fight in the War of 1812, he would give them their freedom. You know what he did when they finished? Put them right back into slavery. Here's the 25 20s right here. Anybody else got some 20s? What should I just put it in a jar? All right. You want to count them, sis?
So we'd like to thank you all for your support. That was one of the reasons we're here. This is a fundraiser, and we did raise funds. So let's give yourselves a hand for stepping up as a community and stepping up as a village. Did she tell me yes?
24683, 24684, 2468500.
And now we have an announcement from Brother Gabe, an update. Brother Gabe.
All right. First of all, give it up for our panel today, y'all. These are our warriors. These are our generals. These are our lieutenants. These are our captains of the movement, y'all. So we're going to allow our panelists to sit down first before we get started.
Amber's trying to give me an order to do something else. She called me back in. Take it.
Yeah. Peace, family. Free the land. What's the call? What's the call? What's the call? We don't say free some, we say free them all. We don't say free a few, we say free them all. We don't say free one, we say free them all. Is that right? And so in the spirit of our ancestors and the spirit of those who came before us and those organizers even today, we want to make sure that we can galvanize towards freedom and recognize the importance as we honor Dr. Mutulu Shakur. It would be 50 years this past Tuesday, May 2nd, when we know that our dear beloved brother, Zayed Shakur, passed on. Rest in power, Zayed Shakur. Rest in power. Rest in power. We must never forget the legacy of Zayed Shakur and certainly Asada Shakur in this moment as we think about Mutulu Shakur. It was 25 years ago when I first had a conversation with Ramona, Africa, as a college student. I go. And I can remember her saying back then in the 90s, Brother Gabe and the family there in the college, we must do all that we can and must to free not only Mumia Abu-Jamal, but also to Move 9. And I told her at that moment of time that once we got back, that we would do all that we could. And so I found myself literally a month after 9/11 going to a rally organization and a meeting. And here's the purpose of the story. It would be 17 years, as we all know, 2018, before the Move 9 come home. What's the purpose of that story? It didn't take 1 year for that to happen. For those who were there in the beginning, it took 40 years. To those who were there in 78. For me, it took 17 years, but the most important thing is there were many along the way who said, Brother Gabe, it's never going to happen. There are many along the way who said, Brother Gabe, you're doing wasteless work. There's many on the way who said, Brother Gabe, why are you bringing Sekou for community empowerment to a MOVE action, to a Mumia action? Why are you getting us involved? Why are you bringing in black students to engage in questions around political prisoners? Why? Because, damn it, we have an ancestral obligation to bring them home. And it is treasonous. It's treasonous to think that we can have elders in prison and we do nothing about it. We can know that they're there, wallowing in the worst food, wallowing in the worst health care, and still knowing these things, do nothing. I remember meeting with Mumia Abu-Jamal. Mumia said, he said, the role of the organizer is to bring up other organizers. See, we forget that part of it. We want to get stuck in the muck and the mire and the ego piece of this all. No. What are we doing? It's not enough to say, I love you, Mama Pam. I love you, Sister Teresa. No, what are you doing for Mumia Abu-Jamal for Mama Pam? What were you doing for Teresa, for Maroon Schultz? See, that's the question. That's the question. See, it's not enough to bring folks up. It's not enough to just raise up our names. And as we pour libation to these legacy heroes and what they have done, it should tear us apart inside. Because the reality of it is this: the most important day of tonight isn't even tonight, damn it, it's tomorrow. Because after this event is done, and the vendors have packed up, and we've had another meal perhaps tonight, we've gone home perhaps to a loved one or to ourselves, we're gonna sleep tonight, and hopefully the Creator will wake us up in the morning. And hopefully we can ask ourselves, what can I do better today that I didn't do yesterday to free our political prisoners? And more importantly, how does that tie into our overall liberation struggle? What does it mean to see a Mutulu Shakur home? Oh, it means everything. It means everything. I remember just not even a decade ago being at the Schomburg and seeing Baba Sekou Odinga at the Schomburg as he came home. And I remember seeing a packed building as everybody gave thanks and just gave him the best wishes. It was one of the most poignant moments of my entire life to know that this man who I've only been reading about, researching, hearing about, studying, listening to, was there in the flesh. That's powerful for our soldiers, family. And when it comes to that work, one thing that I want to take as I think about Dopa's Death, which is a phenomenal film, I want to think about two pieces before I get to Mumia Abu-Jamal. One, we have to uphold and uplift our independent media. I'm going to say it again, our independent media, free from so-called capitalist, corporatist structures and infrastructures that will cease to dominate the way in which that we tell our story. Secondly, the work that we have will only succeed if we bring on the next generation. We talk often about being upset. We get often enraged. But I was told by the great Dr. Neely Fuller that if you don't understand white supremacy and racism, it will only confuse you. So guess what? I understand white supremacy and racism. So I am no longer confused. I don't get mad when somebody doesn't come to a rally or an action. I understand that's white supremacy. I don't get upset when a young person says, Brother Gabe, I love you, but I can't do your work. I understand because it's white supremacy. I don't get confused and upset when I hand out a flyer or I put something on social media or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or TikTok and nobody responds. I understand because that's the role of white supremacy. So the reality is, we have to get more scientific. We have to raise our own personal expectations. We have to find a way to be more collaborative. But even more important, family, in spirit of Mutulu Shakur, we got to get back to more rigorous study. I don't mean just reading, family. I didn't say reading. I said more rigorous study. We have a whole canon. We are blessed in the city of Philadelphia to have many independent bookstores. Peace to Hakeem's Books, one of the oldest in the country. Peace to Uncle Bobby's. Peace to Harriet's Bookshop. Peace to all of them that are out here. What are we doing to bring a young person or a new person, because they ain't got to be young, to a space and over coffee say, you know what? We have this great canon of literature. Have you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Jacob Carruthers? Have you ever heard of a brother by the name of J.A. Rogers? Have you ever heard of a brother by the name of, y'all know the names. Y'all know the names. Y'all know the names. And more importantly, we know that because of education, a lot of young people and older folks have a challenge with literacy and they can't read. So you know what we do? We take it page by page. Page by page, paragraph by paragraph. Utilize YouTube, utilize visuals, do whatever it takes. And in fact, in order to get to Mutulu Shakur, you might have to start with Tupac Shakur. In fact, Tupac died almost 30 years ago. So you might got to start with Kendrick Lamar to get to Tupac, to get to Mutulu. See, that's called how do you organize and facilitate a journey. We have to be innovative. We have to observe the landscape and have enough wherewithal within ourselves to say, you know what? I may not have it all. And if we're going to engage new generations, we can't engage them on the back end. We got to engage them on the front end. What am I saying? If you're thinking about starting a new group or youth program, are young people in the room on day one to develop the program? Not to be asked to come later on, because what you'll find is that they will tell you what they need, what they desire, and what they're looking for. not be bored in later. And so as I close, Mumia Abu-Jamal, who's been down for 41 years, going on 42 years, December 9th, 81, he gets arrested. We know the story. July 82, he's convicted. He's dealt with the worst maladies, the worst health care. He's dealt with diabetic shock. He's had COVID-19, congestive heart failure. But one of the things that Mumia always tells us and tells me and tells Pam and everybody else is, this fight isn't just about me, but all the prisoners across the whole Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who are also dealing with hepatitis C, who are also dealing with poor food, who also don't have sunlight, who also get the worst food, who also during the diabetic shock are fed breads and cakes and cornbread, all carbohydrates, linked to high glucose levels. So real quick, May 12th, next week, Friday, there's going to be an announcement, a very important announcement with the MOVE organization at 6221 Osage Avenue. There's going to be a press conference at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. next week, Friday, May 12th at 6221 Osage Avenue. And if you know Mike Africa Jr., I would say just go to his social media because you may have already seen the announcement. Let's just say they have worked to reclaim Osage. But the press conference is the 12th. And so on the 13th, May 13th, which we know is this year will be just another honoring of the MOVE bombing of 85. There will be a honoring of those who we lost, those 11 men, women, and children at 5 p.m. on Cobbs Creek. Again, next Saturday, May 13th, that will be happening. So please be sure of that. If you want any more information about what's going on with Mumia's case, he just was, we had an opportunity to bring him home with a new trial, with a dismissal, but there was a dismissal by the judge, Lucretia Clemens. But like I always say, this fight, these setbacks are only a setup for a comeback. And so we know as organizers, what we've learned from our master teachers is, we just gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep fighting. So, what's the call? What's the call? Free Mumia Abu-Jamal, y'all. Be well. And please, please, please continue to donate. Yo, we got a great, great announcement too, y'all. Thanks to everybody out there, y'all. We've raised $2,600, y'all, for Dr. Mutulu. $2,600. And I'm gonna say this: if there's anything bold enough, if we could get it to an even 3,000, let's try to see if we can do that, y'all.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We appreciate, very grateful. Here you are. Muhammad. So, coming up next is a message from Dr. Ahmad Muhammad here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm definitely not modeling. Muhammad Ahmed is one of the long-distance runners of struggle from this town, right? A veteran who goes back to the days of the legendary Revolutionary Action Movement, and he couldn't be here, and he wanted just to convey this message. I apologize for not being able to attend because of health issues, including dialysis, which is keeping me alive, as well as family obligations. I have always supported the freedom of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. I supported his work to help the black community cure itself from some of the ills that capitalism has created to weaken our will and to liberate ourselves. What makes Dr. Mutulu Shakur such an important figure is that he was trained to become a doctor in acupuncture for the purpose of curing addiction and other ills. From 1973 until his incarceration, he was my acupuncture doctor and helped me recuperate from torture and ills that the system used against me and that my family has still not recovered from. We must call on all freedom-loving peoples to give Dr. Mutulu Shakur all the support that he needs. And I pledge, and that I is him, pledge all of my political support to his well-being. Healing prayers for Dr. Muhammad Ahmed, a revolutionary scholar who we all love. right? Well, Najee, I see you. This is good. In fact, on Sunday, we're having an event in Newark on Mutulu on this very thing. Right on.
Peace, family.
We want to get a group picture with everybody. So that's my phone. That's right. Don't let me forget it. With everybody for Dr. Mutulu. So if everybody could come up here, I want to put the speakers where everybody could see them. So I guess where's Dequi, Sekou, brother? Oh, here they all over here. We need to take this quick picture. While I get them together, make your announcement.
Our family in Cobra, the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations, has a health commission, and we declared on his birthday last year the Dr. Mutulu Shakur Community Health Day. What we want to do is have 100 organizations come behind that this year. Next year, times 10, which will be 1,000, and each year thereafter 10 times till we get to 1 million. So we have flyers for you to study this declaration and support this brother, because he needs to be supported and acknowledged for the work that he did. Sante Sana. No, this is for Dr. Mutulu Shakur. Oh, okay. Declaration. We're going to take this picture, cause
hey, where are we going to take the picture at? As the art director, I'm the movie director. Where are we going to take the picture at?
All right. Okay. All right. Can we get everyone that was a speaker up on the stage? Yes. And everyone else that want to be in the picture, we're going to do a group picture. Everyone going to come to the front of the stage.